Welcome back, friends. Today we have a little project going. I was doing a hive inspection here a while back, and I have a hive that is just going gangbusters. It's full of bees. We threw a super on it. In about 10 days time they had that thing completely full of honey, so we threw another super on top of it and they really didn't touch it. So I decided to take the honey-filled super off, put the one with the brand new frames in it and foundation, and then put the other honey super on top of it. So they would have to go through this to get to the other honey. And basically this was just a walkway. So they're completely ignoring my new frames and foundation out there, so we got to come up with something else. Now, being a new beekeeper, we've only had bees about 7 months now, 6 months, and we've got 7 hives. That's a different story. But what we don't have is a commodity that all beekeepers think is very, very vital, and that is some old used comb. And we just didn't have any. Everything we have is brand new. It's gonna look like this. So, and the bees will eventually draw this stuff out, but they would much rather work on some foundation that already has some drawn out comb on it, or another way to entice them to do it. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a hive inspection again tomorrow, because today's kind of crappy, and we're going to take a look at that super. And if they're doing the same thing and basically ignoring the new foundation, we're going to take out 10 frames of new foundation, but we're going to wax these frames. Now, like I said, new beekeeper doesn't really have access to some comb, but in collecting some of the burr comb over the months, and also we had a neighbor across the street that moved out, and they left 2 hives that had been basically abandoned. My buddy and I went over and checked those, and the supers didn't even have any foundation in them at all. They had built comb on the top, the underside of the top covers, and it got so heavy with honey that it basically just collapsed down into the lower brood box. And so it was quite a mess, but we were able to salvage a few pieces. This is all the bad stuff, but we were able to salvage a few pieces that we can transfer into some just some empty frames, and we can put in our swarm traps and everything next year, but wanted to be able to use this. So today's project is to melt some of this stuff down. And yeah, it's nasty and ugly and full of bees and ants and flies and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to strain it. Now, we're not making beeswax candles or anything like that. It doesn't have to be real pretty. Once this gets melted down, I'm just going to dip out some of the crud with my little DIY big strainer here, get that out, and then we're going to pour the remaining stuff into this little stainless steel pail here, and I've got a 1 gallon elastic paint strainer, and that's about as clean as we're going to get it. Once we get all that out of here, we're going to pour it back into here, and then we're going to melt it back down, and we are going to wax these up, and hopefully that will give us a chance for those bees to get after that second super. So let's keep this going here. I've already kind of started it, and get this melted down, and then I'll show you the next part of the process. Well, we got a nice little slurry going here. Let me show you. Get this a little closer, you can take a look. Just to show you, you saw how much comb we had in there. We might end up with, oh, I don't know, an inch of comb. But this crock pot's really doing a pretty darn good job. And yeah, you can pick up one of these at a thrift store if you can find one, but to tell you the truth, I just went down the street to Wally World, less than 20 bucks. It's got a warranty, it's ready to go. Some of the ones I've seen at thrift stores, when I do see them, you don't know if they're any good or not. They just have the 550 warranty, which is 5 minutes or 50 feet out the door, so much easier just to go do some one-stop shopping and grab this thing. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab, where's my special strainer? We're going to get the big parts out. And let me tell you, there's a bunch of them in there. And then we're going to strain this through the paint strainer. Man, doesn't that look tasty. But it looks like, I don't know, we might end up with maybe an inch of wax when we're done. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to low now that we've gotten this going. This is all the crud that you're not going to need. It's going to go straight in the trash. But you still want to get some of that good wax out of there. It looks like I got a couple friends that have shown up from the bee yard. So let me get all this crap out of here and I'll show you what we ended up with. Well, it only took a couple minutes, but got quite a bit of that crud out of there. This will go right in the trash. And as you can see, let me grab this glove here real quick. Of course, you don't want to do this with Mama's crock pot. Now, if you got a double boiler, that's fine. Just take a little more work. Or if you have a big roast or something. It looks like we're only going to have about a ½ inch of wax in there, but hey, that's what it is. Now you can buy beeswax here locally, North Texas. Price of beeswax is about $15 a pound. And we're going by the Bee Supply on Saturday actually. And if I feel like I need some more, I'll go ahead and buy some more. But I want to try to use what I had. Now, when we do our extraction, we have a bunch of cappings and everything. We'll have a little different story here. But for this little project, we're going to see how this works out. Now, I'm hoping this is going to stay hot enough to once I get this strained, I can pour it right back in this crock pot and keep it hot. Oh, there's some more crud there. I'll pour that out. Now, it's not important that the wax that you're putting on there is perfectly clean. Like I said, we're not making candles or anything. But just for the straining we did, that looks pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to pour it right back in here. Stays hot. And go to the thrift store, buy you some old pots and pans, things like that, because wax is hard to get off, just so you know. So let's see how this is going to work. We're just going to use a 4-inch paint roller. Oh great, now I've got a whole group of my friends here. We're just going to go down one side, back like this. It's not going to be everywhere on there. Seen a lot of guys do it just like that. Or you can use foam paintbrush, regular paintbrush, you know, whatever you want to use. We're just doing this because I saw, what's the guy in Tennessee? Cayman Reynolds, what's his name? He can do it pretty quick, but he also had a crap load of wax. So, but I think this is going to help us get that super going. And I will let you know, we'll drag the video camera out there and let you know how it came out and what our success rate was on that. We're going to take 10 of these frames and I think I'm going to checkerboard them. You know, there's one thing I've learned about beekeeping in my short career. If you ask 5 beekeepers their opinion on something, you're going to get 8 answers. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out there. If those bees have not made it up into that second super, we are going to take 5 frames of honey out of the super that's full, and we're going to replace it with 5 of these, every other one, staggering them. also known as checkerboarding. And we're going to do that to the other super too. Stack them on there, see how it goes. So there you have it. That's my little straining method for this ugly old nasty stuff, but it is usable. You can use it. Don't throw it away. It doesn't have to be perfect comb, but the important thing is, especially for your new beekeeper, keep every little piece of burr comb that you can. Have a little bucket out there in your apiary, and keep all that stuff. So until next time, you guys be safe, and we hope to see you out in the bee yard. Adios.